1169, Egypt. A god looks to the horizon from the watchtower in the coastal city of Damieta. Suddenly, he spots something odd. Looks like a surprising number of ships are approaching Damieta. A few moments later, the view became crystal clear. The ships had the Byzantine symbol of double-headed eagles on their sails. Egypt is under attack, yet again. Although Saladin anticipated an attack from the crusaders, he never even imagined that the attacks would come from the seas. His troops were far away south of Damieta, expecting an attack through the land. There was no way to send help to Damieta on time. One thing is for sure, Saladin's leadership is under a bone-chilling test.
This is the story of Saladin from Islamic history perspective.
In our last episode, we saw that a civil war broke down in Egypt soon after Saladin became the Grand Vizier. The emirs in the Fatimid Caliphate underestimated Saladin's political and military prowess. As soon as Saladin got the news of the insurgents, he dispatched a number of battalions to strike at the heart of the rebellion, targeting the most powerful emirs. Luckily, his troops achieved early success. The rebel emirs fell one after another either in battle or were executed after the battle. No mercy was shown. Such harsh punishment was needed to show that Saladin was serious about keeping Egypt unified and no rebellion will be tolerated. Within 6 months, thanks to Saladin's prompt and effective decision-making, the situation came under control. Through this event, Saladin also realized that he cannot depend on Fatimid emirs if he really wants to make Egypt a strong opponent of the Crusaders. So he started to replace the Fatimid emirs with people with skills and merits. Soon, the core power of the Fatimid court was reorganized with people whom Saladin could truly rely on in times of crisis. And this actually bore fruit in the long run. Never again Saladin had to deal with large-scale rebellions in Egypt. But peace didn't last for long. Just after 3 months of ending the civil war, the combined naval forces of the Crusader states and the Byzantine Empire attacked the Egyptian coast. They thought Saladin was in a weak position because of the civil war, so this would be the best time for the Crusaders to attack Egypt and take control of its resources. As soon as the news of enemy ships approaching Damieta through the Egyptian coast reached Saladin, he sent a letter to the governor of Damieta instructing him to hold the defense of the city as long as possible and reassuring him that help will come as soon as possible. According to Saladin's instruction, the defenders of Damieta raised a huge iron chain across the port entry to stop the enemy ships from entering the harbor. The Crusaders had to approach the city from the sea, exactly what Saladin wanted. This was a crucial moment in the battle. This gave Saladin the opportunity to quickly send supplies and troops to Damieta through the river and hold the enemy at bay. Seeing no easy way to victory, the Crusaders resorted to brute force. They launched attack after attack on Damieta from the sea. They built trebuchets and siege towers, but the defenders could resist every single time. From time to time, the defenders even rode out of the city walls and destroyed some of the siege weapons. The Crusaders expected a quick victory in Damieta, but even after 2 months, they could not even gain an inch of the city. This was only possible as Saladin was constantly sending support through the river. Soon the Crusaders started to run out of food supplies. Then, in one night, covered under the darkness, Muslims sent a fire ship towards the Byzantine ships. When the Byzantine sailors figured out what was happening, it was already too late. A huge explosion occurred. 6 Byzantine ships were immediately destroyed. Several others were damaged beyond repair. Hundreds and hundreds of sailors and tons of supplies were lost. A decisive surprise attack from the Muslims the crusaders lost their hope of conquering Egypt and left the battle humiliated. The Muslim resistance was so devastating for the crusaders and the Byzantines that it took them 5 years to prepare for another attack on Egypt. So within 1 year of becoming Grand Vizier, Saladin crushed both the rebels and the crusaders. Saladin's success made him very popular in Egypt. Saladin spent the next 2 years rebuilding the economy and defense of Egypt. Many fortifications and roads were built to protect the land, as well as many hospitals, madrasas, and shelters were built to help the people of the land. Saladin understood that the Muslim lands need to be internally united and strong if they really want to drive the crusaders away from the Levant. Under Saladin's guidance, Egypt saw golden days. The economy grew stronger and they, militarily, became powerful. But in 1171, the Fatimid Caliph Al-Ardid became gravely ill. He had no designated successor, so all the responsibility of governing the Fatimid Caliphate fell on Saladin's hand. He was under immense pressure from Nur ad-Din and the Abbasid Caliph in Baghdad to grab total control and end the Fatimid Caliphate. But Saladin waited until the Fatimid Caliph passed away. The people of Egypt already loved Saladin, so after the death of the Caliph Al-Ardid, Saladin took the title of Sultan of Egypt and established the Ayyubid dynasty. He pledged his allegiance to the Abbasid Caliph and promised to give Nur ad-Din an annual tribute, as technically he was still under Nur ad-Din's command. With Egypt under Saladin's command and Syria under Nur ad-Din's, now was the best time to attack the crusaders from two sides, and both Nur ad-Din and Saladin thought exactly the same. They planned to launch a two-front attack against the crusaders and started marching towards Jerusalem. But halfway through the march, Saladin turned back. No one knows for sure why Saladin decided to turn away. There are many theories behind that. Some say there was a chance of rebellion in Cairo. Some say Nur ad-Din wanted the control of Egypt for himself and would have arrested Saladin upon meeting. There is no way of saying what the actual reason was. In any case, the campaign did not succeed because of Saladin's refusal to join. A crack started to grow between two great Muslim leaders, Nur ad-Din and Saladin.